After a very bullish week last week, Bitcoin and the entire crypto market is having a bit of a pullback today. So the question is the local top in for Bitcoin? And if so, how far are we going to drop? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some areas of interest for Bitcoin and some of the top altcoins. So let's get into it. So before we get onto the doom and gloom of the lower time frames, I think it's important to start on the higher time frame. So we're on the Bitcoin monthly time frame, and as you can see, we are looking pretty bullish indeed. So all the way through the year, since we broke above this monthly level of 58.7k in and around that level, we broke above it on February, and we have not had a monthly close back below it since. We've had many wicks below it, including that big wick in August down to 49k, but every monthly candle has closed above 58.7k, which is very bullish indeed. And I like these three big wicks to the downside that we saw in July, August and September. Very bullish indeed. It shows that buyers are taking control of the market and pushing us up, which I think is a very good sign as well. If we go and take a look at the Bitcoin quarterly returns chart on CoinGlass, you've probably seen this before. If we take a look at the monthly returns, of course, last month, September, started off pretty badly, ended up in the green. This month as well, looking pretty good as well. I've got about another, I think it's 9, 10, 11 days until the monthly close. But as you can see, October has always been a pretty bullish month for Bitcoin. There's only 2 Octobers that have closed red, and that is in 2014 and 2018. Otherwise, the average and median returns are around 20%. So we're actually quite a way off that at the moment. We're only about 6%. As I say, still about a week and a half to go. So hopefully this is a short-term pullback and we can finish the month strong. In terms of the last quarter of the year, Q4, again, usually Bitcoin's best performing month of the year. So the average returns for Q4, 82%, and the median returns at 30 or just under 32%. And you can see these huge numbers from previous years. So 2013, 480% return on Bitcoin. In 2017, 215%, and in 2020, 168%. So hopefully we are in for a very bullish couple of months, especially with the president elections in the US coming up as well. Let's get on to some of the lower time frame stuff then. Let's move down to the weekly on Bitcoin. And as you can see, we are struggling to break over this diagonal resistance that we have here from the all-time high wick of March, around 73.7k, which joins the June wick of 71.8k, and you can see we're currently rejecting that at the moment. But otherwise, on the weekly time frame, still looks very bullish indeed. Over the last 3 weeks, so we talked about the fact that we wicked below this weekly fair value gap and the weekly level 60k, managed to hold, and the moving average 21 as well. We managed to hold both of those the past 2 weeks, and then last week had that really strong bullish candle, which was very nice indeed. As I say, in amongst some resistance now. So in terms of a pullback on the weekly time frame, likely area is a retest of this previous resistance here at around, I think that's 65k or 65.5k, where we had this resistance the last 2 weeks of September. So that looks like a nice area as well for another higher low. So you can see we've formed these lows, higher lows and higher highs as well. So you can see we're clearly trending on the weekly time frame. So this area here looks like a good area for another higher low on that weekly time frame. Let's get down onto the daily time frame, and we can see some other levels of interest. So we're currently on a big level at the moment, the bottom of this daily fair value gap here at around 66.7k. And another reason why this is a key area of interest as well, if we go to the Bitcoin liquidation map, so this shows you where the liquidations are depending on what chart you're on. We're currently on Binance perpetual futures, but you can see the brighter the color, so the brighter the yellow, the higher the amount of liquidations in that area. And as you probably know, when it comes to perpetual futures trading, price tends to seek out that liquidity before it changes direction. So normally what you see is price gets driven into an area of liquidity, or of high liquidity, and then reverses. So we've got this area down here, you can see bright yellow of 66.921, and then just below it 67.754. So we've obviously hit those two areas now. So the question is that enough liquidity to reverse and send us back to the highs? We'll have to wait and see. But if we go back to the daily, As I say, not looking too good today. We are at this area of interest. Below that, of course, if we just get rid of this weekly level, we have this previous level of daily resistance and support at 65.4k. We've got this daily fair value gap in and around the moving average 21 at 64.8. And then the lowest level, which I personally think we would go to if we were to see a deep pullback, is 64k. Again, another big level of previous support and resistance. I don't think we get below 64k. If we do, then I think that's a big cause for concern. We'd lost the moving average 21. It's a very deep pullback. And of course, if we're trying to, or if we're continuing to trend, making higher highs and higher lows, the last low we had was at 62.5k. So you don't really want to be going back and retesting that. You want to be making a higher low. And I think 64k is that area we go to. If we just whack a fib as well from the lows to the high, you can see that if we're in a strong trend, crypto usually tends to bounce off of the 382. That's the shallowest pullback it likes to give, and that lines up quite nicely with that 65.5k level as well. So me personally, I think there's a small chance we bounce here, very shallow pullback. I think there's a better chance down here around 65k, where the daily moving average 21 is going to be in a few days, and this previous area of support and resistance. And then the deepest pullback scenario, in my opinion, is about 64k. Let's get on to Ethereum and take a look at that. Not too much to talk about on the monthly time frame. You can see we are above the moving average 21, which is a good sign. On the weekly time frame, a little bit of trouble area. So we've got this weekly fair value gap, the bottom of it here at 2725. The top of the weekly fair value gap is around 3100. And we've also got the weekly moving average 21, and we're having a bearish retest of the RSI 50 with a red trend bar as well on the LC trend and momentum indicator. So this LC trend momentum indicator, really good tool for trading. It's 3 tools in one. So if you're using the free version of TradingView or the lower paid versions, then it only counts as one indicator. It gives you a trend indicator, which is built on moving average crosses, gives you the RSI, and it also shows you when divergences are forming as well. So if you want to check that out, we have a free version and a paid version. The paid version is in with the Traders Lounge package. We also have a free Discord, so if you want to get in there, have a chat with people, discuss trading ideas, investing ideas, all that sort of stuff. Premium is access to all the daily videos we have, the live streams, etc. And if you want to get onto the traders side of things, then jump into the Traders Lounge. So chilling over, let's get back to the charts. And as I say, so Ethereum in a little bit of trouble here on the higher time frames on the weekly, and just above that as well, we also have that weekly level of 2864, which was previous, a big level of previous support. So likely to be resistance there as well. If we go down to the daily time frame, in terms of pullback areas for Ethereum, I'd be looking at this level here at around 2600, where we were before on Friday, before we had this move up over the weekend. Particularly good day for Ethereum yesterday, although we've almost fully retraced that today. However, a better area is probably where the moving average 21 and this daily fair value gap is here around 2550. I think if we start closing below those two levels, then the trend is starting to look very iffy indeed. We're probably going to retest to 2400, and it just means that we continue to be range bound, as you can see. Moving on to BNB, been a pretty good performer so far. It's stalling at around this 600 area. However, you can see that it looks like it's coiling up for a big break through all-time highs. Now, when that's going to be, we obviously don't know, but I think when it does start to move, it's going to get to $1,000 very, very quickly indeed. You can see we had this attempted breakout back here at the beginning of June, where we had a weekly candle close, highest weekly candle close it's ever had, about just over this level of 662. But then we deviated, pulled back. So I think, as you can see here, we are making a nice bit of accumulation here, ready for that move up on the weekly time frame. You can see it's a big level of weekly resistance here at around $600. That is also evident on the daily time frame as well, about 610. You can see we've not had a daily candle close above $610 on BNB since back in the middle of June. So I think you can see we're rejecting off that level at today. If we get a daily close above 610, I think it's a very quick move to 662. And then once we get a weekly candle close above that, I think we could move very quickly to $1,000. So a potential pullback and nice entry on BNB is this daily level here of $580 previous level of support and resistance and the moving average 21, probably a retest the RSI 50 as well. And I think if you get in there, nice easy invalidation is just a daily close below the moving average 21 and the daily level. But you've got the opportunity there. Maybe take a little bit of profits here if we retest 610 after entering down here at 580, and then let the rest ride. Take some profits here at 662 and then ride the rest to new all-time highs. If we just take a look at what the potential profits are, it's about a 5% move from 580 back to 610, then up to 660, you're looking at about 13% move, and then of course beyond that it looks very good indeed. Solana, we take a look at that on the weekly time frame. So again, just chopping, looks like it's accumulating, ready for a bigger move. Of course, the big level to break on Solana is $205, which we rejected as heavy resistance back in March. Not really got up there since. On the daily time frame, in terms of a pullback, I like this level here at $158. Previous resistance back here at the end of September and the middle of October, or last week essentially. We've also got a daily fair value gap here at 157, a slightly deeper pullback. Then we may hit the daily moving average 21 at around about, will probably be about 153, 155 in a couple of days. We also have this daily fair value gap and previous support level here at 150. If we start closing below 150 on Solana, then again, I think the trend looks very dodgy indeed. You really want to see this level at 158 hold for me, in my personal opinion, make that higher low and continue to trend upwards. Now let's take a look at some of the metrics in terms of the strength of Bitcoin versus the altcoins. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, you can see that that is moving quite nicely still. So no break on the Bitcoin dominance. Again, as I've said before, this is just an index chart, not an actual asset. So take the TA with a pinch of salt, but these levels have been respected fairly well throughout its history. But you can see a monthly candle close above 58%. Looks like we may well expand all the way up to 64%. And the thing that could fuel that, the catalyst, is a break of all-time highs on BTC. So as we've seen in the past, when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, you see a surge in dominance as money starts to pour out of altcoins and into Bitcoin, because people don't want to miss the run into new all-time highs. So that could be the catalyst that sends Bitcoin dominance higher. ETH BTC though, still holding its ground here at 0.04. And as we know, this is usually a good indicator of altcoin strength versus Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's doing better than your altcoins, then you can be bleeding in Satoshis. So something to keep an eye on and think about when you're looking at your ratios of your portfolio. But I think if Ethereum or ETH BTC rather holds this monthly level 0.04, then you've got a case that we could start, the bottom may well be in, and we may well be starting to form a bit of a rounded bottom. But as I say, still got 10 days to go of this monthly candle close. I think if we get a monthly candle close below this monthly level 0.04, you may want to think about, of course not financial advice, but either reducing or getting rid of your altcoins, and staying in BTC, or having a larger allocation of BTC until we deviate and reclaim this level. Now, of course, it is risky because we might only get a slight close below and then the next monthly candle rips up, but it's just something to think about, because below this level, we could be going much further down on ETH BTC, but something to keep in mind and think about. Lastly, end on a bit of good news for altcoins. Total 2 and Total 3 are actually looking okay. So again, it's an index chart, so take it with a pinch of salt, but this level on the Total 2, 940 billion, has been a very solid level of support and resistance, been respected pretty well. We're back above it, potentially retesting it here as support. We're above the moving average 21 and we're above the RSI 50 as well. So in terms of that, altcoins are looking pretty good, but of course that's in their USD pairs. They could still underperform against BTC, and therefore you would be better off being in Bitcoin than you would be in altcoins. So things to keep in mind, things to keep an eye on. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we've hit a local top? How deep do you think this pullback for Bitcoin goes? And what altcoins are you buying on this dip? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.